What they do, what it is, this is Orion aka Brass Balls, yet another deep dive tape stash for all of my peeps out there. As always, please subscribe, comment, share, repost, all of that. I truly appreciate y'all. You want to peep some old episodes? Make sure you peep me on my YouTube channel, Orion Hip Hop. Enough of that. I hope y'all recognize Real Heads on the Rise. This is a special episode because this is one of my favorite hip hop groups of all time, Smif and Wessun, aka the Coca Bees. Let's talk about this classic that I got in front of you right now. And actually, before I even do that, if you are in the South Florida area, if you in Orlando, this weekend in particular is the Low Life weekend, and it's going down in Orlando. Iron Cow is the venue. They're gonna have mad talent out there. Dope MCs, legendary acts, and this group, Smif and Wessun, happens to be one of them. So if you are in the Orlando area, make sure you go check out the Iron Cow. This weekend, May 4th, you can catch Smif and Wessun. You can also catch Smooth the Hustler, Trigger the Gambler, Thurston Howe the Third, of course. All of the low lifes out there, all of the incredible talent from the Miami chapter and the Orlando chapter gonna be out there. Myself included. I'm trying to make my hike up there, but you know I got kids and shit. You know how it is. But enough of that. If you can't make it out there, it's gonna be an event. Lots of talented folks is gonna be out there. You know, I'm putting the flyer on here so you can peep game. But go check out the low lives and stuff and what they got going on this low weekend. This Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know what it is. Wrekonize. Now, this joint right here, Wrekonize, I remember finding this tape at the Red, White, and Blue in North Miami. If it wasn't the Red, White, and Blue, it was the Salvation Army. And that same day, I also found The Shining. Now, I already had The Shining on CD, of course, and was already familiar with it. But when you find this type of thing, when you out on the dig, you must take that. If you're a true digger, you know what it is. You don't just run across these every day. Now, Wrekonize itself was the third or fourth single off of the Shining album. You know, tracks like Bucktown, One Time, and Soundboy Burial had already kind of made their rounds, and people were already up on game with Smif and Wessun, and especially with the classic album, The Shining. Now, this is a remix or of it, but not really. It's not too far off. I don't notice really what the difference is unless there's something deep in the cut. If you look in the liner notes, there's additional production credit given to STEE. Of course, that's Steel from the group Smif and Wessun. Baby Paul did the original production on this. This track itself had a video that was very dope. You know, they had the bed in the middle of the hood. They were like on what appeared to be like some kind of bus. Tech was rhyming on like a fire escape. Dope visuals for this track as well. This track samples Bill Withers, Just the Two of Us, and this is possibly the hardest you're ever gonna hear a reinterpretation of Bill Withers, Just the Two of Us. I'm just saying, this is as hard as it's gonna get. The drums knock extra hard, and what the fellas is talking about is not no sweet stuff, you feel me? This is some dope classic material here. The side B continues with Soundboy Burial, which, as I mentioned, was already out, already kind of made its rounds. So if you were copying this single back in the days, you got laced with the Soundboy Burial track and the instrumental of it, which I can't tell you how many times I freestyled over the Soundboy Burial instrumental. It's like, it's got them drums, man, them drums, and it's dark, it's gritty, so it's everything MCs like me enjoy. Soundboy Burial, of course, had a video as well that was extra dope. This is a dope find. And the one thing I'm gonna say about this is I'm wondering why Nervous Records didn't put this tape cassette single with the O card. As y'all know from these deep dive tape stash episodes that I be doing, it's typically singles that have the O card template. This isn't an O card, this is actually a J card template. Why they chose to do that, I don't know, but I also happen to have Black Moon's Buck 'Em Down single as well, and it's also a J card. So I wonder what was the cost associated for them and why they chose not to go the O card route with these singles. But it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Still got mad love for the single. The Shining album, like I said, is classic, and this duo being from Brooklyn was kind of like You know, you had Mobb Deep, the infamous album, come out, and that was a classic in itself. And to me, from a duo coming out of Brooklyn, this was the antithesis of that. It's like, you know, if you liked Mobb Deep's The Infamous, then you definitely like Smif and Wesson's The Shining, and it was just a different take from a different borough, but more or less like, you know, street tales and, you know, just dope bars and Boot Camp. When you look at the early releases of Boot Camp, this is one of the ones that people will always say is one of their favorites. And to this day, anytime I'm at a hip hop spot, DJs are playing tracks from The Shining. You know, Smif and Wessun, of course, changed their name because of legal reasons with the gun manufacturers. They changed the name to Coca Brothers. The second album, Rude Awakening, to me is classic as well. I love that album. And then they released the third album under Tech and Steel, which is also a really dope album. And then they were able to retain the name Smif and Wessun much later, did an album with Pete Rock and everything. Y'all really got to do the knowledge on Smif and Wessun. Now, check this out, man. I've seen Smif and Wessun live before. I saw them when they performed at Studio A here in Miami. It was them and Dead Prez. Really dope show. Them fellas have great chemistry on stage. So once again, if you're in the Orlando area, make sure you go check out the Low Life Weekend going down at Iron Cow. There's going to be a lot of acts that is going to be out there. There's these brothers included, and it's a show you ain't going to want to miss. These brothers is still doing their thing. So shout out to all of y'all for tuning in. Ryan, aka Brass Balls, tuning out right now. Peace. Maybe I'll see y'all this weekend if you come out to the Iron Cow Low Life Weekend. That's what it is. Peace.